Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to The Good Truth. My name is Denwood. I'm your host. Look at what we have here. I think we got a little bit to talk about today. This is only the second real live that I've done here on this platform. And there's some kinks to work out. For instance, my music, my sound, my lighting, every little detail. And so easy to forget. Let's see if I can get this functioning here. There we go. It's going to be bright. Technical difficulties. Here we go. Welcome to the show. Gonna take a minute here and just kind of fine tune some things. But I mean, first and foremost, we gotta mention the elephant in the room. That happened last night. That actually happened last night. I was on stream all day, not all day, all night. But for like 6-7 hours, mostly just perusing through the videos, the left-wing media on YouTube and some of the actual mainstream media. Just going along with the rest of us because I had nothing else to do. I'm super glad I didn't go to any sort of election party. That would have been a miserable event for a lot of people. But what I did see is people online going from being extremely positive about our future to just straight disbelief. And I think that's still going on. I think America right now is in a very confused mode. There seems to be two camps, obviously. There's two parties, two camps. But the current vocal camps today are those kind of MAGA moron types that, of course, we expected this after the election, after Drumpf's, let's call him Drumpf. I hate his stupid name and I hate his stupid face. After his win, the gloating began, like just gross, unclassy gloating. I mean, it kind of reflects on his general base to begin with. It's definitely the type of people they tend to be. Now, I can't mark everybody as a kind of classless gloater, but a good majority of them are. And there's a lot of reason for that, which we can go over in a little bit. But just wanted to come back and show my face because for me, this is just the beginning. I've sat back for years, followed politics closely. Me as an independent, I would classify myself. I am the type, like in the generation I grew up in, who would vote for the candidate that best suits your needs or the needs of the people or, whoever had the best ideas and policies, not dependent on party, right? Can go either way at any time. And that's how a lot of people were when I was growing up. That's how most adults were. It wasn't about Democrat or Republican. It wasn't about this team versus that team. It was about who was best for the job. And one year, your father could vote Republican. The next year, he could vote Democrat. It wasn't such a tribalist thing. It wasn't a situation where everybody had to fit a category all the way down the line and then separate themselves into these teams to go against each other. Now, that's not how politics was back then. And it's extremely sad that that's the way it is now. So I'm here to show my face, to give a big F you to all those Trump supporters out there, all those people who just gave up democracy to a handful of oligarchs, all the people that they've spent the last 4 years saying the deep state, that mysterious man behind the curtain that they keep pointing their finger to, but no one is ever there. You just gave them the job again, you idiots. They is them. They are the ones that do it right in front of your face. They're the ones that take the people's money right in front of your face. The they was always in front of you. That's the dumbest shit ever. All right, I'm getting a little too emotional. But that's the truth. That's who the mysterious they is. It's the people getting you to think that there's some mysterious they. The rich and the powerful always, always, always do it right in front of your face because they can. Keep the people fighting. Take whatever you want. Get the people to vote against their own interests. Make themselves richer. That's the name of the game. It always was. And the dumbest thing is, the dumbest part about all this is the least educated, highly religious people are the people that are voting to take away their own rights and give their money to the rich people. Dude. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. There's absolutely not a single redeeming quality in Donald Trump. There's not a single redeeming quality. Completely lacks empathy, lacks humility. I mean, the man walking around saying he's the smartest man in the room, he's probably not the smartest man in the room. You don't have to continue to tell people you're the smartest guy in the world if you're really that smart. You don't have to say it. He had to say it over and over and over because he understands that, well, the least intelligent people in the world are very, very susceptible to brainwashing. And what happens? What happens throughout this whole brainwashing experiment? After the brainwashing begins, then the brainwashed start pointing their fingers at everyone else, calling them brainwashed. It's incredible. That's literally the way it went down. Anyhow, getting back to where I was. Yeah, ideally, I don't side with either party. Right? I've spent my entire life fighting for the little guy, and I mean that very physically. Growing up, through high school, through my 20s, if there's ever anybody being picked on, fought with, pushed around, I've my entire life jumped in, taken punches to the head, broke up these fights, did whatever I can to protect the little guy in very physical and non-physical ways. And I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm never going to stop doing that. There's this big misconception out there that tough guys are for some reason all on the right. And in my opinion, they're the weakest people that exist. Nowadays I'm veering off from what I was saying, but nowadays Republicans, they all want to follow this really gross man, actually. He's fat. He shits himself. He's just an asshole to everybody. Anybody smaller than him, he picks on. Anybody weaker than him, he picks on. He calls people names and acts like a child. I mean, he's the weakest man on the planet. He's had everything handed to him since he was a child, all the way till now. And now you have handed him all the power in the world, you fucking idiots. I keep losing track. But he's not a strong man. He never has been. He picks on people. And that's a lot of the Republican voters, the men that voted for him. They see picking on people as a sign of strength. And the reason they do that is because they themselves are weak. Yes, I am calling you weak, you Republican men. I'm calling you weaklings. To put a man in power that does not protect women, does not protect minorities, does not protect people weaker than you, you are pussies. All of you. And to be honest, a big fair share of the Republican constituency happens to be kind of older, middle-aged white guys with big old beer guts, hasn't seen the inside of a gym in a long time. Granted, I know there's the opposite side. They're those Proud Boy types, the very unintelligent, uneducated, racist guys that, they go to the gym, they try and stay buff, and they act like gang members. You two are pussies also, in my opinion. My point in saying all this is the biggest misconception is that there aren't tough guys on the left, but there are. There's a lot of us. That's one of the first things we have to do in this new future where we've given power to all the oligarchs. is all the tough guy leftists, if you want to call us that. It's time to organize. It's time to get together. It's time to fight back. These people have taken too much. But now I'm going to get back to what I was saying before about party affiliation and where I stand personally. Because of the fact, like I was mentioning, I never associate myself with labels. I never have. I said I stick up for the little guy. The other part of that was that I don't label myself. I've never labeled myself. I've always gone against considering myself something like a surfer, skater, whatever it is. And for good reason, because I believe I'm more than that. I'm broader than that. And it goes the same way with parties. I never had a particular affiliation to either party. As a matter of fact, I never believed in either of them. There's bad on both sides. But what has happened in the last 10 years with the way politics has turned and with how ugly the Republican Party has become and how shamefully they will just directly lie to their constituents over and over and over until this big feedback loop occurs where the very thing that they lied about is now the thing that they're using as evidence for it being true. And people just believe that shit. It wasn't until that stuff started happening, the manipulation of information, the disinformation becoming so prevalent, and then people's biases and racism and sexism just starting to come to the forefront of this shit, that I could not further support, even in mind, think to myself, I'm in the middle. There was just no way I could do that anymore. I got pushed to the left because of all the ignorance, ugliness, lack of empathy, bigotry, and ability to pick on people. That pushed me over to the left because, as I mentioned before, I'm always going to stick up for the little guy. And fuck you if you don't. So now, I get labeled, and I have been labeled for years now, as like a libtard, right? That's their fun little term. Leftist, whatever, dude. And I'm farthest from that. And there's a lot of us like me that are farthest from this weird, imaginary, blue-haired character, soy boy, whatever. As a matter of fact, I actually line up a lot with ideals, Republican masculinity ideals. But I'm very far from them now. Very, very much pushed to the left and extremely proud of it. The left tends to be a little more intelligent. The left tends to be more empathetic. Just better people in general, as far as I'm concerned. So I guess now, in this day and age, I call myself a progressive. And the reason I do that is because it makes the most sense. That term can express somebody like me, the type of person I am and I want to be. Because the meaning of progressive just simply means progress. And I believe in progress. I don't believe in going back, making America great again, which America is great now. You want to go back to a time when it was less great? It's the stupidest shit ever. When we have less rights, when we treat LGBT communities and women like second-class citizens, and minorities like second-class citizens, when racism was at the front of our tongues, just unabashedly. Yeah, let's go back to that time. And let's be honest, too. That's what that movement has always stood for. Making America great again for the white people. I am not a big, Captain Save-A-Ho, right? I'm not a big come in to swoop in and save the black people, save the Mexican people, save the races, white knight, whatever. I'm not that guy. I never have been. I'm all about everybody lifting themselves up and supporting themselves and their communities, whatever it may be. But in this particular case, that's what the MAGA movement has always been. And you can see that by the voting patterns. I think I just saw the stats today. It was like 75% of white men voted for Trump. And it was something like 70% of white women voted for Trump. And the minorities, which comprise of 20% of the population, right? They voted 75% heavily against Trump. The numbers are just there. The numbers explain it themselves. What do you gain out of being a Trump supporter if you're a woman, right? Well, whiteness, sticking up for what you believe the country is supposed to be like, the whiteness of the country. I mean, you're losing rights, so it doesn't make sense. The brainwash portion of it does make sense. The misinformation part does make sense. The tribalism part makes sense. But there's absolutely not a single policy or anything that Trump has ever put forward that has actually been helpful to women in general. Stupid. Anyway, enough of the introduction. That's me. That's who I am. And that's what we're going to talk about here on this live program. This is The Good Truth. I got this handle a long time ago. I own the YouTube page. I own thegoodtruth.com as well. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, because we've got a long way to go to make things right in this country. And the only way to begin doing that is to be vocal about it. That's exactly what I'm doing here. So let's see if we can get a little bit of tunage on in the background and maybe discuss things a bit further. I always, when I do these live shows, I used to do some streaming in the past and would always have like kind of soft background music. But I never paid for Spotify. That's the thing. So then I have this like nice chill background music in effect. And then every once in a while it would be like, do you need new homeowners insurance? Well, I got you covered. So you can expect that as well. What was the music? It was like copyright-free music, I think. All right. Let's see what happens. This can't be copyright free. There's no way. Did I do this last time too? Copyright free music. You know what? I wonder if I can go to a different site. All right, let's see. Just some more technical difficulties as usual. You know, folks, if you don't forget, if you like, share, and subscribe, we will be able to build this up and have all the bells and whistles that go into a normal show. It does make it difficult when you have to do everything on your own. I used to run a podcast for a very long time called Burn Down Hollywood. It was one of the older podcasts, right around when Joe Rogan first began. As a matter of fact, we were up for a Stitcher Award way back when. We never did live video podcasting. It was just all audio. My fault. You know, we could have started to upgrade into the video world, but I just, didn't have the time nor the money. But we were up for a Stitcher Award. And at that moment, for a good portion of that competition, we were beating the Joe Rogan Show. We were beating the Nerdist podcast. A lot of the really big podcasts at the time we were beating. We did end up losing and getting knocked off of the top 5 toward the end of that. But, for a good minute, we were up there competing. Okay, let's see. Is there I've got this thing called Artlist. I don't know if you can see it here. Do they do like a radio type thing, or do I have to? Yeah, I don't know if they do. I really just don't want to pay for Spotify. Like, share, subscribe. Go ahead and you can donate below to Cash App, DenwoodCash, if you want the show to get any better. Let's see. I don't know if I can just play random music. Maybe we just go back to Spotify. copyright free? No. I swear there was like a different, like I know for sure that music was copyright free. Screw it. Maybe it's royalty free music. Is that what it's called? Royalty free music. Upbeat music. Chill, royalty free music. Let's see what happens. What we getting? What we getting? Nice. I dig it. I dig it. Oh yeah, smooth jazz, 98.5. Also, don't forget, F Trump, right? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. All right, we got to turn that down a little bit so we don't get so distracted. So, last night was tough. Today, I think, today's like the hangover period, right? I go on some message boards on Facebook, as I mentioned during the live stream last night. And I don't know if I should admit which Facebook group it is necessarily, because that'll give away my location, you know. But it's a locals message board for people in the area, and it is quite contentious. Very, very often, just people fighting. It directly shows the ugliness of the internet, because a lot of these people can easily hide behind their private profiles. Do you remember back in the day on Facebook when you couldn't like privatize your profile? I noticed that's what a lot of people have been doing in this new overheated political world. Is all the people that are fighting on these message boards on Facebook, they have they don't have their actual profile picture. They put their accounts on private, and then they'll put like Trump or like whatever, to hide their identity. And it gets back to a lot of these MAGA people who they want to be in this stupid gang, wear their hats and be complete bigots, but then they're just complete pussies at the same time. Like, show your face, man. I just the hypocrisy of it all will just never, ever stop to bewilder me. Anyhow, like I kind of mentioned before, those message boards were just full of comments like, where you guys at now, libtards? Huh? Why are you so quiet? Why is everybody so quiet today? And a lot of like preemptive bullying, if you will, poking the bear, like the nowadays the online version of there's a lot of that going on today. And people like me, we'll deal with chat in a little bit. People like me were quiet for most of the day. I think a lot of us are gathering our thoughts, thinking of the next moves, trying to kind of reconfigure how this will affect our lives and our close circles, and how to move forward. There are a lot of people on both sides that made this their identity, at least for the last 4 years. I know the majority of the Republican voters did. Anybody with a MAGA hat, like they're in a cult. I mean, there's just no denying it. They've attached a pants-shitting old man to their identity, and they're going to take it to the grave. There are Republicans out there who, maybe just always vote Republican. They don't attach politicians to their identities. Those people I give a lot more respect to, a lot more. But these MAGA morons who literally had to strap onto this orange weirdos back to like figure out who they are as a person. Like I have no respect for them. But then the same happens on the left. Not as violently, and I don't mean violent in, insurrection, capital type violence. I mean, not as extreme. But you have seen a lot of that on the left. You've seen people getting so fired up about the bigotry, the misogyny, the name calling, and watching somebody that doesn't deserve to win and fall upwards over and over and over, there's like an addiction to it it has taken over their lives in a sense, become their identity. And in a smaller extent, I could fall into that category. I've been paying careful attention. I've definitely done my fair share of online arguments, and mostly I like to just back the idea of evidence, data, and public statements, public sentiments, and never tend to fall for the rhetoric and the lies and the manipulation. Those have been the majority of my online battles. Have simply been, here's the data, here are the statements, you are wrong, and if you can't get past the fact that you are just severely incorrect, then you have a problem. I don't believe I've lost any of those online arguments, strictly for the fact that I like to stick to those things like evidence and data, which a lot of people are allergic to nowadays. But in doing that, I have formed a bit of my identity around it. Again, trying never to fall prey to either side, right? But definitely getting pushed over to the left and sticking up for the little guy. Fighting misinformation. I think that's where I've personally been Captain Save-A-Ho over the last few years, is when it comes to the fight of information and misinformation. Because I do feel a lot of these MAGA morons just don't have the cognitive ability to do legitimate research. They fall prey to their own circles and the data, not real data, but the misinformation that gets passed around in those circles, and then having the ability and the cognitive bias to not be able to differentiate some of that misinformation from actual information. And a lot of it comes from the fact that they don't want to. And that's where you get back into the tribalist nature of things. So that's where I've personally sat for the last few years. I did go to college, and I've spent more than a decade since college kind of voraciously studying science, among many other things. I mean, I don't have a degree in science by any means, but I became addicted to the idea of science, evidence, just anything that's formed around reality. For instance, when we were going through like the Trump impeachments, I watched all of those congressional hearings, and then it kind of got me addicted for a while to watching as many congressional hearings as possible, as boring as they could possibly be. Luckily, I've spent the last few years with doing the kind of work that enables me to listen to whatever I want during the day, podcasts, whatever show, all day long, anything informative, and that includes congressional hearings. So sometimes there'd be 8 hours of congressional hearings, and I just have that playing in the background. Anytime something came up that kind of sparked my mind as fairly interesting, I could turn at any moment and kind of pay more focus and attention. And all the while, I was just like kind of intaking information, and I did that for years. So it gave me a much deeper idea on how our government works, much more so than I ever had before, because I was never really truly educated in the ongoings of our government. And that in itself, that self-education pushed me a little bit more to the left. And I say left as in today's left. Because surely being more involved in the inner workings of your government and educating yourself on that was not a partisan thing until recently, where somehow the right got hijacked by misinformation specialists and also people that just deny how anything operates, people that just want to tear down the fabric of the thing we've built over the last 200 years. The right used to be very pro-government, and now it's like anti-government, not in a way like keep government out of my this, like just the complete distrust in any governmental idea, and a lot of that distrust comes from ignorance. People tell you they're doing this to you, the deep state, they. And that's all they have to do. Your new oligarch daddies, that's all they have to do is go, them, they, deep state, them, they, for this mysterious they that doesn't even exist. And, well, it seems like the right has fallen for that. And so voting to remove their own rights and voting to give imbalance of power to one specific person is what they've done in order to fight this non-existent they, deep state. When all the while, they are the they, the people that are having you fight the they. Anyway, I'm repeating myself now. I myself spent a good portion of the day reflecting what can be done. I'm a white man. I'm not going to be super affected by a lot of the awful potential outcomes that this regime could bring. I don't have to worry about my rights being removed as a woman, and a lot of the bigotry, misogyny, that stuff just doesn't fall toward me. Also, I live in a pretty liberal state with high education expectations. So when Trump decides to dismantle the Department of Education, it's not going to affect me either. I can still, most likely, as long as this state remains blue, I can continue my life. I could have children here and feel confident in their level of education, and feel confident that this state will protect my way of life as it is now. As far as everyone else in the country, well, they voted against their own needs, and they voted for somebody who's only ever taken from them, and there's nothing we can do about it. So the positive thing moving forward, if that's you, if you're one of those Trump voters who now can watch your people from your communities dying because of pregnancy complications and things of that sort, well, you and your community are going to be the ones that suffer. You and your community are going to be the ones that pay for that. Thankfully, putting things back to the states, which didn't need to be done in any way, shape, or form, and as a matter of fact, is just causing more harm and more death. As long as you're in a liberal state, I think you're going to be okay, at least for a little while. I don't really necessarily think Trump has any sort of actual legitimate policy. But one positive thing that I do believe is that he is so extremely self-centered. He cares more about what people think about him and his name than you can probably imagine. It's my guesstimation that he's not only gonna, enrich himself and his family even more than he did last time in the next 4 years, but I think he's gonna be worried about his name and his legacy, because he's already been touted as, I think, the fourth worst president in U.S. history by scholars, by presidential scholars who have been going over that data for ever and ever. And I think he hates that stuff. I think Trump kind of wants to go down as one of the best presidents of all time because he knows he's not. It's always been projection with him. He is not a very smart man, so that's why every time he speaks in public, he has to remind you how smart he is, despite what he says. Recently, in the last 2 years, he's been going on these tangents where he starts talking about one thing and then veers off into all these weird random shits, you know, what was it, the Hannibal Lecter stuff and jumping off of an electric boat with sharks around and saying like "Goo goo gaga, mimi mama," like weird shit, and then completely forgetting where he began his talking point, you know. And he's even co-opted that into making himself seem smarter by calling it the weave. They literally branded his cognitive decline as the weave, which is quite funny. And sad that people actually believe it, but that's literally just him being a moron and not being able to, you know, keep a train of thought. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not that. I got to be honest. Like, I'm doing it right now. I'm no better than Trump. It's pretty difficult to maintain a train of thought when you're just freeballing it. But that's exactly why a lot of people. Oh, there goes the commercial. That's exactly why a lot of professional politicians utilize the what do you call those? The monitors. I'm doing two things at once. I can't think. Let me turn down this commercial. The teleprompter. That's why a lot of politicians use the damn teleprompter, because it's hard. It's hard for anybody to just off the top of their head, unprepared, continue on to speak. But Trump is particularly bad about it. Often misspeaking people's names, because, you know, he doesn't give a shit about anybody that works with him or for him. He doesn't remember their damn names. Veering off topic, trying to like act like a showman, Google Gaga, you know, that kind of stuff. That's Trump. That's the man you gave all the power in the world to. There we go. I think we're just going to have to deal with these commercials as they come. Unless, hey, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We got the channel on YouTube. You go ahead and subscribe there. Don't forget to subscribe on Twitch. We can slowly build out this show over time if anybody gives a crap. And, you know, there's always that Cash App donation button I have on the screen right now. You can send any donation to DenwoodCash on Cash App, and everything will go toward continuing to build on this show and this premise. Who knows? Who knows what we can have in store in the future? Maybe it'll die. Maybe it won't. But all I know right now is this right there. Right there. So, I had a couple talking points potentially prepared. Whether or not we're going to stay on any sort of topic is kind of beyond me. You know, this is last minute. I'm doing Daddy Trump style right now. I'm just freeballing it and going with the flow. What do we do now? There's not a lot. There's not a lot that can be done now. I believe Trump, you know, now that he has supreme leader power, you know, we've voted in a dictator. Many of you, I don't know how aware you are of the Supreme Court's ruling to give Donald Trump immunity for all things done in the office. And that ruling was very directly against the Constitution, very anti-constitutional. The Constitution is very clear about nobody being above the law, including our leaders. It's clear about that in its words and in its choices to not specify in certain areas. That completely removes immunity from the president, but the Supreme Court, the very paid-for Supreme Court, loyalists, granted him immunity. which dictates, so far as we know, that anything that he does in the name of his job as the president can be legal. So a lot of scholars have been throwing around the idea that he can, have a political enemy murdered. And as long as it's within the confines of his job as president, that's completely legal, right? So, yo, B-Man the Wise, how's it going? I'm not quite chatting with people just yet, but if you want to stick around, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, you're more than welcome to. We're just beginning this show in general, and don't have too much. We don't have any followers. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. God, I do that so much. I've got to get better at remembering my talking points. But what do we do now? Well, they have yeah, that's where I was. The Supreme Court. They have imbalanced the power, right? We have three branches of government: executive, the judicial, and the legislative, right? And the executive branch has just now gotten so much more power than the other two branches. There's basically not much anybody can do to stop this new immune president from doing whatever he wants. That's an imbalance of power. That's a dictatorship. That is what we as a country fought against for our freedom, against the tyranny of a king a couple hundred years and change ago. And now we have voted that back in. The strangest thing about democracy is that we are free to vote it out, right? We are free to take away the thing that makes us free. And that is quite the conundrum. And I think we are sitting in that very space as of now, potentially voting away our rights and freedoms to a dictatorship. Definite oligarchy. We've got Elon Musk up there and Donald Trump, billionaires, among others. I believe Bezos has something to do with it. Dana White is sitting up there on stage with Trump during his acceptance speech, right? Why? Why, Dana? Tell me why, Dana. Why is it that you would be supporting Trump? Oh, I don't know. Because an extra 10% tax break for somebody that makes like $1 billion a year, that's $100 million in your pocket. $100 million in your pocket every single year, and even to a billionaire. When you just get an extra $100 million to throw around, that's a bunch of homes, that's a bunch of yachts, that's a bunch of whatever you want. And that's exactly why those people were there. Same with Elon. I've mentioned this before. Elon's entire business, it was about to tank, but it depends on government subsidies. We gave him $3 billion over the last few years, and it's about to be a lot more, as Trump has stated that he's going to put Elon in charge of those things. He will potentially be in charge, Elon, of how much money he gets, which means he will be paying himself government money, which is beyond me that people would vote for oligarch rulers. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I'm trumping it again. Where do we go from here? We're fucked for 2 years, and then we vote. We're completely fucked for 2 years, and then we vote. Trump and the MAGA wing of politics has taken the House, taken the Senate, and taken the presidency. And they own the Supreme Court, right? The only recourse we have is to take comfort in our liberal cities that tend to want to protect us from ignorance, and vote. That's all we can do. Trump, when he first took office in 2016, I believe he had the House and Senate as well in that time. And he still got absolutely nothing done, absolutely nothing passed while holding power in all forms of government. So there's a good chance that same thing will happen. There's a good chance he's just going to funnel more money up to the rich people and do nothing. And I think we'll be lucky if that's actually the case this time around, as it was last time. I mean, it's obviously never a good thing when governments funnel all the money up to the top, because where does that money come from? It comes from us. It comes from us. It comes from normal people. It comes from the little guy. So it's never a good thing when that happens. But if we're not losing more rights, as we already have, if the Department of Education doesn't get dismantled, if he doesn't go about removing any progress we've made over the last decade, that will be the luckiest 2 years we could imagine. After that, I'm going to assume that these next 2 years aren't going to be super great. You never know. Anything can happen. But generally, after somebody gets elected, it doesn't matter how popular they are, they usually start declining in popularity pretty quickly. And after the first 2 years, usually the Senate will flip or the House will flip, one of the two, or both, depending. And that's the best thing we can hope for. We can hope that nothing goes through. Hope that he's just another lame duck for these 2 years, and then we can take back House and Senate and stop him from destroying more of the government than he already has. Aside from that, we've got to talk. We've got to organize. And in my opinion, I think we've got to shame those people that voted him in, because it is shameful. It's disgusting. The man has constantly gone publicly with how poorly he treats women. Loads of women have come out against him. He has such a massive history with Epstein and all the P3DO philia that has gone on there. And a lot of instances with Trump being seen with underage women. And who knows what other awful things he's done in that respect. He's taken away women's rights. He said awful things about people of different races. He incited his people to not accept a real and fair election and caused them to attack our capital. He continued to lie for 4 years, and they still ate it up. So yeah, you should definitely shame anyone you know that has voted for this man, because the guy is just a giant piece of shit. He always has been. He always will be. He's never cared about you or them or they or whoever, just himself. His daughter and son-in-law, right when they came out of office on his last term, got a $2 billion investment from Saudi Arabia. Trump utilized his businesses. He broke the emoluments clause and utilized his businesses for his hotels for our foreign dignitaries and people visiting our country from other countries to stay in his hotels. And you know how that works in the government. You know how that works. It's like the war machine, right? The defense operations, the defense budget, how that's utilized. We pay outside vendors to manufacture defense goods for us, and they overcharge the government for those things. For instance, there's been a lot of talk about it. There's been congressional hearings about it. It's like they will manufacture a bolt that goes on a nut for a specific missile or something like that. And whereas you could go down to Home Depot and buy that same exact bolt for 35 cents, they charge the government $35 per each bolt. Right? It's the same thing that Trump did, utilizing his businesses in that way and charged the government. He very famously stated publicly that he's the only president in history to give his entire salary and donate it to charity. Right? What a kind daddy you are, Trump. Thank you so much for your $200,000 donation to charity, which is all fake. Everything he's done is fake. Meanwhile, he utilized every single one of his businesses within our government to make himself richer. You don't take your son-in-law, who has absolutely zero governmental or foreign policy experience, and give him in charge of the richest oil company in the world. That's for connections, man. He sent his boy, his son-in-law, over there to make connections. That's it. And he did with Bonesaw, what's his name? MB, whatever, the Saudi Arabian prince, the guy who's killed our journalists. They made deals, man. And so the day that presidency ended and Jared Kushner left office, the day after that, maybe it was a week, who knows? There's a $2 billion investment from the Saudis. And they claim that they've not utilized the government to make any money. He's only made himself richer, and he's only made the 1% even richer. And that's going to continue to happen. But like I said, what can we do? Nothing for now. Take safety in your liberal cities. Stick with liberal schools. Put your children in liberal schools. Education is the most important thing. The only way we can fight tyrants and fight dictatorships is if we are collectively smarter. And again, that's another tangent. This is why they want to dismantle the Department of Education. All of those red states that have now kind of taken over our map. There's a lot of Christian nationalists within those groups. A lot of them wanting to bring religion back into schools. And they've been doing a lot of book banning, right? I know even particularly in my community, they were banning books that just had a footnote from an author that was gay. The book didn't have anything about gayness or gay culture or say anything gay in it. But because there was a footnote that directed toward a book by a gay author, they wanted that shit banned. Anyway, it's the dumbing down of society, the dismantling of the Department of Education. The only reason to do that is to dumb down society. The dumber you keep the people, the more control you have. And that's what they're doing. They want to bring religion back in schools. You know, that whole Project 2025 shit or whatever the fuck it was called. It's going to happen, dude. He owes so much money to the Heritage Foundation for helping him through this campaign. I mean, maybe they're not going to do the entire 900-page Project 2025, but a whole hell of a lot of it's going to be done, beginning with the dismantling of the Department of Education and the entering of religion within our schools. Here we go on this other tangent here, but this is a big one. A lot of people think, I mean, this is a Christian nation, right? I mean, this country was founded on Christianity. Yeah, but the forefathers specifically put in that we keep religion out of government. And the reason for that is when you have religion directly tied up with government, you end up with like Muslim nations. There's a lot of people here afraid of the Muslims because they have this, goddamn, the commercial's back on. These extremist ideas, and we're afraid of them, right? They went back to covering their women's faces and heads up. They're not allowed to go in public without that kind of gear, modesty, right? Like crazy shit like that happens when you start putting religion into your schools and into your politics and into your government. When they start making the rules, people that believe in the Bible, a lot of shit in the Bible that's just complete fiction and also just crazy madness. There are people that believe that thing is completely 100% true and that we need to be following that like a guidebook. And that's how you end up with like Muslim countries where they have to wear whatever the hell those things are called that I can't remember. That's why you keep religion out of politics, religion out of government. And that's exactly what they're trying to do with the dismantling of the Department of Education, is keep us dumber and put religion back in our schools, which just isn't the smart thing to do. What next? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let's see if I'm getting any hate over here. To be honest, I kind of saw Trump winning a mile away. Didn't expect him to win the popular vote, though. I agree. I don't know if you're still here. I don't know if you're still here watching. Fridge. I can't read very well. My eyes are really bad. Fridge Makara. I think that's what it says. I'm getting eye surgery next week, by the way. So hopefully after that, I'll be able to read comments better. I agree with you completely. I had a fear that he would win. And I was also just severely misled by the energy of Kamala Harris's rallies. I think we all forget that the population of white people in this country is still vastly more than all the minorities put together. And when you utilize whiteness and white supremacy and you know, work into your campaign some people's deepest fear of being irrelevant or being pushed out or having your culture changed, has a much bigger impact than one would expect. You know, I think a lot of people on the left think and hope that people in general are just good, you know, that people in general are just good to all people. But I think we still just all have these really basic human fears, you know, and seeing your kind being eradicated, which is kind of their thought process and what they want you to think over on the right, that's scary. And that has a lot of power. So yeah, I didn't think he would win the popular vote either. Surely I assumed it would be like, if he were to win, it would be again like 2016, where we would be bitching about the Electoral College and how it's outdated and how it doesn't serve us as a people. But to see him win that popular vote, man, that really says a lot about society, right? It's the same way that Fox News operates. They utilize not only just misinformation, but it's this them versus us mentality. It's the fear mongering, the fear tactics. It's the outrage, right? Outrage marketing in our news sources. That's why Fox News became the most popular news network, because it keeps you glued. We're in this airtime society, right? This like how long can we keep a person's eyes glued to the screen with Facebook algorithms and all those other websites? And the media is no different. It's like when we watch a movie nowadays, we have to have more edits to keep ourselves entertained, right? But what the news media did is figure out the best way to like keep a person's engagement without having to change the picture every 20 seconds is to keep them angry. It's utilizing the most base parts of our brain. It's fight or flight, right? It's tapping in to our anger, which can often be so much more powerful than our kindness or our care toward other people. And it's really sad and shameful, but it works. And it works on people that aren't able to see it. Especially it works on older people, the elderly, I guess. Even not quite as old as calling them elderly, but the older generations that grew up trusting their news sources and grew up trusting their media and trusting it to be true all the time. It worked way more incredibly on them, because like, why would the news lie to me? Why would they do that? So whatever they're saying must be true. This outrage must be real. The immigrants must be coming here to rape our children and take all our jobs and destroy us, you know? It's just a very, very basic tribalist way that our brains operate. And it's a sad place that we can be so afraid of what they've told us to be afraid of, that we will give them the keys to the city, let them take it all. Give them the whole shebang, right? Please, Daddy Trump, please save us. We're too afraid. We can't do it on our own. We need you. I'll never be that person. I'll never trust authority, you know, especially when it comes with a whole lot of money behind it, because you follow the money. That's where you find the corruption. That's like the dumbest thing about this whole thing. How stupid the Republicans have been. God, it's so mind-numbingly stupid how they were attacking Biden for years about being corrupt and stealing money from the government, and they tried to impeach. They went through everything over and over, and even all of their witnesses on trial were like, yeah, we got nothing. And their best witness was a fucking Russian operative, and still they're like, we got nothing, right? Okay, so wait. Biden is corrupt, stealing lots of money from the government and selling his access, right? Meanwhile, Biden is worth $10 million, okay? Biden's worth $10 million after being in politics for 50 freaking years, right? Something like 54 years in politics. He's only worth $10 million? That's what I'm looking at. He's only 50 years in politics. He's only worth $10 million? That dude is poor as fuck. if you take into account what other politicians are worth, I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi. She's utilized insider trading for all these years. She's worth fucking $100 million. Biden is only worth $10 million, and his wife is a fucking school teacher, and he's the corrupt guy stealing money from the government. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, wait. But this billionaire guy, right? This orange fucking weirdo who is like done so many awful things to women, but screwed over so many smaller businesses over the years. Screwed over the people he works with over and over and over, who has thrown money at people, used the court system to keep them quiet. That's the guy that's not corrupt, right? That's the guy. Okay, the billionaire is less, who's fucked people over for decades, is less corrupt than the guy worth $10 million who's married to a school teacher. We're not a smart society anymore, people. We are fucking not. Okay, what else is going on? I don't know what you're saying here. I got to look really closely at the screen because my eyes are bad. Honestly, Democrats really need to find someone competent. I'm astounded Kamala lost so badly. I know. I am too. When I first saw Kamala step up to the plate, I thought Trump was cooked, finished. I did too. A 60-year-old prosecutor versus a 78-year-old estate agent should even be a fight. Kamala should have run rings around him in every debate, but I saw her floundering. It took one talk between the two of them to know Kamala wasn't going to win. It's stupidity from both sides, really. Republicans are stupid for being led by a clown. Democrats are stupid for losing to a clown. I don't think I've heard a better take than that. And I can't agree more. It's really interesting, like being on the losing side and having to look back at what went wrong, right? Meanwhile, having such a disgusting group of individuals on the other side doing nothing but gloating and poking as they've won, right? I mean, we all lost, really, but so looking back on what went wrong is it's difficult. It's not easy, but it's interesting. I think a lot of us got caught up in the hopium, right? The energy. I've always, historically, when Democrats have a candidate that's fairly popular, when all the celebrities in the country start coming out publicly and backing them, that's usually a sign where I'm like, oh shit, we might lose this one. The last thing people want is their celebrities telling them how to vote. But at the same time, you jump on board because it appears that so many influential people think the way you do. And I think I have a excuse for that, as strange as it is. Often you find people in the arts to have left-leaning politics or to just straight up be Democrats, right? They always come out when we have a Democratic candidate in support of them. And there's a huge reason behind that. And again, we come back to empathy, right? Generally, people that work in the arts are people that have like a higher sense of empathy than others. I find actors to be that way. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Performers, because in a lot of ways in the performing arts, you have to dig down deep into your emotional being and study that in order to accurately portray whatever it is you're going to portray. And there's a lot of like emotional learning that goes on in the performance arts, whereas in other sects of the country that just doesn't exist. You know, you're a truck driver. How much emotional learning are you going to do as 30, 40 years as a truck driver? Probably not much. You're just picking shit up, you know, dropping shit off. Maybe you get what do you call those truck driver hookers? What do you call them? Lounge lizard? No, that's a different type. Whatever. Maybe pick up a truck driver prostitute halfway between the country. Like that's the emotional learning you get as a truck driver. No offense to truck drivers out there, especially any of those that are the type that have open hearts and have learned empathy over the years. But you get my point. I think the performing arts people, artists in general, they're just more in touch with that side, which is why they kind of tend to lean to the left a bit more. And people without as much empathy go the other direction. That's what I see. Yeah, I got to get a bigger monitor. As a Brit, I don't have much stake in the election. I just see it and say how it is. My mother also thought Kamala was cooked, but she believes it's because the average American voter just isn't ready to vote for a black woman. Dude, you couldn't be even more right. Hey, glad to hear from someone over the pond or across the pond or whatever you call it. Our elections, are important around the world. They affect the entire world. I am a big fan of the UK, actually. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I've gone there quite a few times. I also grew up, just being a lover of like bands like the Sex Pistols and like, Anarchy in the UK. And man, if I was ever going to ditch this country, I would definitely be over in the UK trying to find my way there. Ireland's beautiful. I've been to Scotland, and I drove all the way through Scotland. Actually, Edinburgh might be a place I would move if I was going to finally get away from these crazy MAGA weirdos. I doubt that'll happen, but I do appreciate and love the UK. And thanks for chatting with me. You know what I disagree immensely about your take? Find me a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than actors. How do I approach that one? I think you're right and you're wrong. I worked in Hollywood for 20 years. So there you go. Now you understand my take a little bit better. But when you get higher up the rung, I don't think we're talking about the same people. What's that dude's name? The producer that went to jail for all that rape and stuff. Dude, I don't know if I'm supposed to say the R word on these streams. I'm probably going to get freaking booted my first week doing this. God, I can't remember that dude's name. Anyway, it's the same world. Once you reach that level in the entertainment business, it's the same world as like being Donald Trump, or Epstein or whatever. That's where things begin to separate. When you're talking about the upper echelon of people in the entertainment industry, the people that are worth hundreds of $millions of dollars, yes, those people are just as ugly and just as disgusting, because with all that money comes power, and it comes power over people, the ability to manipulate the people. So I agree with you in that respect, but a majority of the people in the arts, a majority of the people out there trying to make it as an actor, make it in the entertainment business, a lot of them are just people that kind of are in touch with their emotions and kind of artistic creativity of life in the world and the magic that they can see, in their own heads and their own personalities or whatever. A lot of them are just good people that want to make it in a creative place and have a career in a creative place. Mind you, having worked in Hollywood for 20 years, I myself never really had a large group of friends. I never fit in with any group that I've been in, including the kind of actor group. They were, in a sense, too cool for me, I guess. They were super artsy and, better than me, right? Like I didn't fit into that world. I've always been right in the middle of like half bro and half, I don't know, what's a good word for like what a Republican would call like a libtard, I guess. I don't know. I've always been like right in the middle of like Republican bro and purple-haired libtard. So like no matter what group I've been in, I've never fit in. I'm like way too liberal for the bros and the UFC guys and the douchebags. And I fucking hate douchebags. Like I want to fight douchebags, right? I like protecting the little guy, right? And the little guy is the, soy boy, purple hair libtard guy. And I'm like, oh God, you guys are so fucking lame. You guys are so fucking lame. But, I'll stick up for you. And you guys are kind, good human beings. And because of that, I've never fit in anywhere. So even 20 years in the entertainment business, yeah, I didn't see nearly as much of like that scum and villainy that a lot of people are kind of taught that it's like. In fact, I did meet a lot of really good people, but I also never really fit in and was, you know, taken under anyone's wing or had any group of people that really accepted me. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think you'd be surprised. Hollywood's a little more normal than you think. There's not a lot of people fucking, you know, taking the blood of children and injecting adrenaline, babies' adrenochrome or whatever. From the look of the election results, it looks like the main factor to Trump's win was mass delusionment among Democrat voters. After all, Trump got 2 million less votes in 2024 than he got in 2020, but Kamala got 14 million less than Biden did. Yeah. I think, I'm trying to remember who it was that said it. Everybody and all the kind of mainstream media was saying that the independent voters are going to be the ones that decide the election. And I can't remember exactly who said this, but and I believe this person to be correct. They were like, no. It's not the independent voters that are deciding. It's the voters that decide to come out are the ones that are going to decide. It's the Democrats who stay at home that are going to decide the election, essentially. And I believe that to be true. One of the kind of sad and maybe funniest things that happened, I think it was on CNN last night when, I don't know, Jake Tapper and the other guy, I can't remember his name. The other guy was like, how many states did Harris overperform in? And then they go to look at the map, and the entire map was black. There was not one single state that Harris overperformed in. And as sad and shitty as this is, that was kind of a comical moment. Like, oh, fuck. Fuck, we all had blinders on, didn't we? I don't know. I think it just goes back to the hype. And then the amount of people that were actually hyped. And then also the anti-Israeli stuff was super interesting. I think that might have had a lot larger of an effect than we thought. I know specifically, anecdotally, in my life and the people that are like online in my little circles, there was a lot of them for the last 2 years or whatever it was, like constantly posting anti-Biden stuff, even though they were liberals, strictly because they wanted to like defund Israel to stop the genocide in Palestine, right? And this whole time, I'm like, dudes, shut up. Dudes, shut up. Stop saying that shit. It's like, okay, yes, killing a bunch of children and a bunch of brown people in another country is fucking bad, right? That's definitely bad. But also losing democracy, that's worse for us, right? You can't make things better over there if they're getting worse over here. And there's people like, oh, what's his fucking name? Who's that like political streamer? I almost had his name. He's like the super pro-Palestine guy. Oh my God, I'm losing it. His name is like, to me, it almost sounds like Hamas. God damn it, I can't think of his name. Let's see if I can look it up. No, come on. H3 beef. What's his damn name? Hassan. I just remembered it. Hassan Piker. Like that fucking idiot. I hate that guy with a passion, Hassan Piker, for a load of reasons. I mean, he's super liberal, sometimes way too liberal. I wonder if you mentioned it. Oh, yeah, you did. Damn it. I'm getting eye surgery next week, so I should be able to see my comments after that. Hassan fucking Piker. You haven't even seen much of Hassan. I mean, I stopped watching him a long time ago just because he's off the hinges, man. anyway, apparently, and I wasn't watching a lot of the streams where he was saying these things, but it goes back to the whole Israel-Palestine thing. A lot of the pro-Democrat people were like shouting anti-Biden sentiments for years now because of the Palestine conflict, and he was like one of those huge voices. That dude's got so many damn followers. And he essentially, I don't know if it was just one stream or a multitude of streams, but he was vocally convincing his viewers not to vote, because no vote for Biden is a vote to protect Palestine, and that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And I think there's just such a large swath of those leftists out there that, didn't vote, that it, potentially made a difference. However, I can argue against myself. I do feel like a lot of those people might not have been in red states, but you never know. You never know how big someone's reach is. I want to see how many followers Hassan has nowadays. Hassan B, right? Hassan Abi, whatever. 1.4 million subscribers. Interesting. I mean, it's not like he himself is enough to turn over the election, but just those sentiments throughout this time, so many different left-wing groups unable to come together to say, let's fucking keep democracy, infighting, all that bullshit, just not being strong, right? And I mean, I think that's the exact reason why so many people, identify with the right, especially men that want internally to pretend and act like they're strong, tough men, right? Oh, those guys over there, they don't give a shit about nothing. Yeah, fuck him, fuck her, fuck the government. Trump doesn't give a shit. Fuck yeah, guns. All right, fuck women. Yeah, like just the dumbest bros in society, and that's what that whole group kind of seems like to me. And I feel like a lot of men want to identify in that way, so they lean that way, especially the dudes that want to be masculine, but are still kind of like soy boy at heart. The short guys that have kind of been picked on their whole lives, that want to act like tough guys now, or, they all want to run over to this like overly hyped masculine group of people to make themselves feel stronger for all the years that they've suffered not being so strong. Yeah, fuck us on though. Just heard Twitch finally realized they need to stop having selective blindness and came after Hassan. Oh, right. Oh, right. They kicked him, didn't they? Andrew Tate. We know who you mean. Just say Andrew Tate, fam. Yeah, I do mean that. Man, though, I mean, there were a lot of things. Being somebody that kind of identifies in the middle of those two groups, there were a lot of things that Andrew Tate said that I could even like get on board with. I mean, I couldn't quote them directly, but there kind of has been this overarching level of a feeling that men are losing their masculinity, and I think personally a lot of that's bullshit. I think it's a lot of right-wing talking circles just talking about other genders all the time and being obsessed with other people's private parts. They've like imagined that they're losing their manhood or whatever. In fact, I think a lot of those men never really had much of it to begin with. But I could see how that sort of rhetoric really resonates with certain people. And it leads back all the way down the Trump road. Taking it back. Take back our masculinity. Take back this. Take back that. Take back our country. Like wannabe steroid fucking freaks. But that gets old real quick. That's all Andrew Tate ever fucking had, was, the same scare tactics that Trump and his people used and continue to use. So that didn't work with me like really at all. And all I saw was douchebag. And I hate fucking douchebags. I don't like douchebags. But it's easy to see how easy it is for people to get manipulated by that stuff, especially men that want to be tougher than they really are. And really, again, it goes all the way back to like, dude, that guy's just taking your money. Just like Trump is taking your money. Here, have some gold shoes. Oh, you want freedom? We want freedom here. Buy these NFTs. If you buy these NFTs, we'll get freedom, man. We'll get all the freedom in the world. Oh, I'm getting arrested for crimes that I committed. Here, buy parts of my suit for freedom, and then we'll all get the freedom we wanted. You know, it's like, keep buying my shit. Keep buying my shit. That's all the manosphere is too. It's just selling shit, selling ideas, taking money. You know. Do you think the scientist who made that one bad study on wolf behavior knew it'd result in so much macho pseudoscience and deranged erotica? The incels, the turbo virgins. I don't. A bad study of wolf behavior. I don't even know what you're talking about. Now I have to look that up. Bad study in wolf behavior knew would result in so much macho pseudoscience and deranged erotica. What the fuck are you talking about? Maybe that's just a joke. I don't fucking know. What bad study on wolf behavior? We'll see. Maybe I'm ignorant. I don't know. The idea of the alpha wolf is based on a misunderstanding of wolf behavior, and it's considered a bad study. Oh, there you go. That's why you say that one scientist, because maybe we don't really know who that one scientist is. Yeah, dude. It's like that. What are they calling it now? Red pilling? I can't even keep up with this shit anymore. Like red pill, black pill, fucking manosphere, fucking alpha male, whatever, dude. Yeah, the alpha male, beta male nonsense, dude. Yeah, I mean, just like anything, it's a spectrum, and to me, it's just fucking stupid. Like I don't know why it's so hard for people to see through that stuff. You know, like the guys, it is the fucking simps and the incels. They're the ones that are getting sucked into it the most. You know, the guys that are giving their money to Andrew Tate are looking up to him like somebody they want to be. You know, dudes with big old beer guts who haven't been laid in years, thinking, oh, if I act like him and if I follow his ways and if I give him, you know, half of my monthly income to be a part of his club, then I can learn how to go to the gym and get strong and be buff and get girls, and then it'll be like 1980s fucking teenage sex films again, which I loved growing up, and I wish I could do that. I mean, just, I don't know. Everything's a fucking fantasy. Hey, Monsi. What's up? Yes, this is a significant factor. Fridge Makara. I hope I'm saying that right. We got Eddie the Mons in the chat saying hello. Oh, man. Just trying to figure things out here today. You know what's interesting? Not to change the subject too much, though. I got a kick out of watching UK politics. Fuck, dude, my brain's not working today. What is it called? Parliament? Yeah, watching like Parliament, like, because they get fired up, man. There's the House of Commons and stuff. Like, I don't know exactly how the UK government works. I should do some more research on that. But every time I'd go to the UK, I would turn it on, that public access channel that has like the Parliament meetings, and those bastards get fired up, man. That shit's like WWF, like World Wrestling Federation entertaining. Our meetings of Congress are like very staunch and stoic and very in line, if you will. And like the British public tend to attribute themselves to being very staunch and stoic and in line, but their parliament is fucking nuts, man. They just go crazy. It's like a soap opera. At least the stuff that I've seen. That's some entertaining shit. What time we got? We are been streaming for about an hour and a half. Thank you for joining, everybody who's been here so far, all two of you. Personally, I think the modern feminist movement has inadvertently popularized that kind of manosphere and formed a far-right pipeline. I mean, I guess I could agree. I don't think feminism is as strong here as it is in other countries. I mean, we get into the idea of like today's modern woman, right? Yeah, everybody should have equal rights. It's okay if a woman wants to have a career, right? These are old ideas and old thoughts, 1950s nuclear family where the woman had to stay at home. It's just not who we are anymore, and I'm okay with that. Being strong, independent, self-serving women, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But see, this is why I don't think there's necessarily this massive feminist movement that's really having a large effect on things. What I really think is having an effect on things is how much power women in certain aspects have gained since the dawn of social media and the internet. You want to get down to like real kind of obvious things. You have women online very easily are getting 1,000 messages a day from, random dudes. And then those very random dudes are not getting thousands of messages a day from women. There's like been this total imbalance of sexual power with women and men, where it seems like men are always kind of scratching uphill trying to get a woman's attention, whereas, a woman can very easily and already has all the attention she could ever want. And I think there's just a lot of angry men that can't really figure out the balance in that, and that get really mad that the really attractive guys are getting all the hot girls and they're not getting any, I don't know. I don't really personally see there's this like massive feminist movement that's really affecting things. I just think it's kind of the way of the internet and like the mirage that we see, this imbalance of power between men and women online specifically, and then the ability to harm relationships within that like imbalance, distrust, jealousy, men always concerned about how many messages their girlfriend is getting from other men, and it happens, and it just makes infidelity easier, a lot of jealousy. So my girlfriend lives in Mexico, and the feminists in Mexico are fucking insane. Like they're like a gang. Like they hurt people, they get into these big groups and they assault people, they deface public statues, they destroy things. They're literally like fucking I don't want to say the Black Lives Matter movement, because the movement itself wasn't bad. It was just those riots were bad. But the feminist movement in Mexico is much like those destructive protests that Black Lives Matter did some years ago. I feel like they've got a really severe and insane feminist movement down there. I think we're kind of, I don't know. Everything's a give and take in a balance anyway, right? We got a bunch of men leaning towards the manosphere right now, and that's kind of in the zeitgeist. And ideally, that'll start to pull back a little bit as well as people get sick of it, right? That's the thing. You don't think it's strong, but the further from the norm something is, the more extreme of a reaction it generates. That's fair. Why do you think the manosphere stuff is so popular in the USA? Pokemesh says, there are many reasons why new feminists are very tough in Latin American countries, but there are women who take advantage of the movement in a negative way. Because there are many femicides and missing women in Latin America, and the government never solves them. Yeah, I totally understand that. That's the shame too. And even crazier, like the craziest shit. This world doesn't even make sense anymore. You have a country like Mexico with more misogyny, more crimes against women, unsolved crimes against women than you can imagine. And they just elected a female president, right? There's a epidemic of low education in Mexico, historically, and misogyny and machismo, and they've elected a female president before us. Like, that's fucking mind-blowing. And they have crazy extremist feminists that we couldn't even imagine having here. that probably aren't doing a lot of harm for any feminist movement. But, you know, I do understand you've got to, when women are being raped, murdered, and kidnapped at such high levels and high levels of occurrence, like you've got to be louder and angrier and, you know, to try and make more of an impact. But, yeah, it's just wild to me. And I do get it. Yeah, everything's like a give and a take and a push and a pull. The manosphere is big because men are, you know, pushing back against women who have more power than they used to. I mean, I guess I just don't hearken it back to like necessarily being a feminist movement, right? That suggests more organization, more like what happens in Mexico. I guess maybe it could hearken to like just feminism in general as a base idea of, you know, more power in the hands of women, I guess. And yeah, that's what we get. We get it back and forth. Anyway, thanks for being here. I did have some other stuff I wanted to go over tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I think I've said enough, and I can save a little bit for tomorrow or the next time that I stream. Gather some more thoughts, figure some more things out. I hope you've liked, shared, subscribed. I've got YouTube channel, it's The Good Truth, and I've got the Twitch channel, it's The Good Truth. I've got the website, thegoodtruth.com. I acquired this name a decade ago, and it's funny. I know a lot of people in the UK, they're not the most religious. I think we have more atheists in UK than any other Western country, I believe. I could be wrong. I myself am not a believer. And so many years ago, I got super into the four horsemen, the four atheist horsemen. It was Richard Dawkins, Samuel Beckett, Dennis. Oh God, I can't even remember the freaking names anymore. This is what you get when you go live, right? You just can't think of the things that are popping into your head. Anyway, the four popular: Richard Dawkins, Daniel Beckett, right? Sam, fucking what's his name? And then my favorite one, who wrote "God Is Not Great," and I can't think of his name right now either. Is an Englishman. Most of them are Englishmen, except for Sam, whatever his fucking name is. Anyhow, I got really into like the atheist movement in the mid 2011 era. Earlier than that, 2009, 2010. It was just like taking in as much information as humanly possible in the sciences, evolution. You know, Richard Dawkins, big evolutionary scientist. I just really addicted to that space for a long time. So much so that I wanted to start making atheist content, which, you know, that doesn't have a very big market at the end of the day. And so I found the guy who owned the YouTube page, The Good Truth, which was a religious YouTube page. And I'm like, okay, if I take these words that can commonly be attributed toward religion and turn it completely opposite, because the good truth truly isn't the word of the Bible. In fact, it's much the opposite of that. So I co-opted that to try and kind of switch the meaning. And I've held on to it for all these years. And I don't know. I think right now I can't think of a better time to utilize it, you know, than to start a podcast. Maybe this show, maybe it'll continue, maybe it won't. Maybe just continue doing, you know, Stream of Thought live streams for a while, and try and rely on the side of actual truth and evidence, data, rather than, you know, this massive problem that this country has right now, which is manipulation and disinformation. That is currently my biggest enemy. And so much so that I want to get militant. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I want to get militant. I wouldn't harm anybody. Okay. I'm not out there, you know, building the reverse Proud Boys or anything. But I feel that way about disinformation. I feel such disgust toward people like Elon Musk, who took the platform of Twitter, marketed marketed it as a free speech platform, and then utilized that to fucking disinform all of his followers and all of the people on that platform. It is such a disgusting misuse of power that I feel fucking activated. And I fucking hate liars. I fucking hate propaganda, disinformation, artists, if you will. And Elon Musk has become a fucking evil billionaire. Fucking like a cartoon Marvel fucking evil bad guy. He's like the epitome of that now. Like he went on stage and called himself Black fucking MAGA. Like he's I don't know. So anyway, I think now is a good time for this platform, right? If I can do anything with it, if I can even keep a coherent thought together for long enough to do it. But yeah, slowly, maybe we'll try and build something. Get the YouTube channel up. Got the Twitch. Maybe start building the website, and maybe eventually doing like more thought out podcasts and stuff like that. So yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff. If I can find the people to join us, then we will continue. And, you know, if not, we'll see. But I think that's it for tonight. I think there's a lot of other stuff we can save for the next forthcoming days. Maybe I'll come here every other day or every few days. I'm not sure yet. But I just wanted to get on today and show my face and where I sit and where I stand. Because like the internet has been saying all day, why are y'all so quiet? Why are you liberals all so quiet? Where you at now? Huh? Where you at, bitch? That's what they've been saying. Well, I'm right fucking here, and I ain't going nowhere. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And it's nice to meet you, Fridge Makata. I hope I'm saying your name right. Cheers. I'm out.